Hello, I'm Erisa Walbo for the article presentation. The title of the article that I'm presenting that I read is How Indigenous Scholarship Changes the Field, Pro-Universal Appreciation, Decolonial Aspirations, and Comparative Indigenous Education. This August 2022 issue of the Comparative Education Review Journal, which is the official journal of the Comparative and International Education Society, published by Chicago Press, Volume 66, Number 3, is a themed issue edited by Elizabeth Romida Huaman with a focus on comparative indigenous education, indigenous knowledge systems, and research toward decolonial education practices. So here is the full citation for the article. The structure of this article, it is a 26-page article with the subtitle of the abstract, then the introduction, which is setting intentions of and for Indigenism, Coloniality, Decolonial options, and Indigenous research methodologies, then Indigenous research relationships as baseline, comparative Indigenous education research, principles and proposals, overview of the entire themed issue, and then finally the reference section. As already said, the article focuses on comparative Indigenous education, and the author underscores the importance of being loyal to the land, which she calls Indigenism. And by being loyal to the land means being loyal to the aspects of the land, if I may use the word again, the traditions, the language, the way of life, culture, the philosophies of a given group of people. Because indigenous knowledge systems of a given people do not make strict demarcations across political, across economic, health, culture, and other aspects. There are no strict demarcations. So when you are loyal to the land, it results in decolonized schools, decolonized research methods, decolonized student thinking, which makes everybody become even more creative at thinking. And on page 408 of the article, the author, I quote, we can't arrive from nowhere at being more thoughtful, more healing, and kinder participant observers of our universe. Such transformations require understanding the colonial options in relation to indigenous research methodologies, dismantling limitations and expanding definitions of the field. Here, in this excerpt, the author tries to emphasize the importance of understanding the indigeneity, the origin, the indigenous aspects of a certain group of people before you can make a clear way forward, before you can plan for better research. You need to understand the aspects before which are embedded in the tradition, and that's why she emphasizes that you can't arrive from nowhere. Surely, how can you come from nowhere? You must come from somewhere, and coming from somewhere is from the indigenous. Then you can move on to the global perspective, and then a fusion of the two to give you the local perspective, where you have the local perspective and then the global perspective to give us global perspective. Indigenous knowledge is viewed as a clear indicator to a sustainable future. So if we have knowledge, indigenous knowledge systems, then you are sure of a sustainable future. Therefore, the article also emphasizes that the indigenous researcher should have or undertake four major roles: to remember our knowledge systems, and their intricate and complex interconnections. To understand what has happened to us, for you to research, you must understand what has happened before, and that is embedded in indigenous knowledge. Then to unlearn in order to relearn. You unlearn and then you learn new aspects. And then to move ourselves so that we can see what others are asking and doing to learn. During the reading of this article, the author cross-references with her other article of 2019, which is Comparative Education Research, Indigenous Epistemologies, WAM 2019, Comparative Indigenous Education Research, Indigenous Epistemologies and Comparative Education Methodologies. International Review of Education Journal, volume 65, pages 163 to 184. In this article, the author examines the role of indigenous research in comparative and international education in order to propose comparative indigenous education research as a critical component in the trajectory of comparative education. Also, Weber Fieldworks 201, Indigenous Researchers and Indigenous Research Methods, Cultural Influences or Cultural Determinants of Research Methods. In this article, the author emphasizes a number of issues, such as the fact that all forms of living things are to be respected during research. So that means that you should conduct research in a spirit of kindness and honesty. It reminds me of the Ubuntu philosophy. Thank you very much, and I welcome your comments.